Hey, hey, happy day. The Russian leader, he looked across the street and there were three men standing there visiting. So he walked across and he said, I'm going to promote the socialist system and I'll see what these guys have to say for themselves. Went up to them and they were kind of astounded to see him. And he said, hey, to the first guy, if you had two airplanes, would you give one to a friend and promote the socialist system? Of course I would, comrade. Looked to the second guy. He said, if you had two cars, he said, would you give one car to a friend? Of course I would, comrade. I would support the socialist system. He looked at the third man. He said, if you had two chickens, would you give one to a friend, to a comrade? No. Everyone was quite taken back, and the leader looked at him and said, what do you mean, no? You have to support the socialist system. They did. He looked at the leader and he said, two chickens? I really have two chickens. Hey, that is a socialist system, don't you know? It kind of works in theory, maybe kind of, sort of, but in fact, it does not. Biden, that administration, they're doing all they can to make sure that Trump won't run, but they're worried because I don't think they're going to win. I think he is going to run. I think he is going to win. So what are they doing? They're bracing for this, and they're doing all kinds of installations, call it, of roadblocks to prevent him from doing certain things. With regards to the people who work for the government, many of them should be canned because I don't know what they do. In any event, they put rules in place that Trump won't be allowed to fire them. I don't know. They are scared that he will reshape government back to where it used to be, and we are scared that he will not have the opportunity. Hopefully he will. There are 105 senators in Canada, and all are appointed. This is shocking to people in other countries, but none are elected. None of them. And they're the ones that kind of create the laws. I mean, the House brings the laws to them and they have to approve it before it in fact becomes law. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the prime mistake. He's appointed 81 of those senators, 81 out of 105. So effectively, even after he's gone, he controls 80% of the Senate because these aren't right-wing people that he would appoint, do you think? No, of course not. So, it's just a mess. It's a real mess. Canada is governed by the Westminster system. It's the King's Law of old, Charles and Edward and all of these guys back in the 10th century and the 12th century and so on. I mean, it's a dictatorship dressed up in American clothes. That's really what the Canadian system is. I mean, here's a couple of examples for you about crazy. In Parliament, it can be dissolved and snap elections can be called at any time. I recall years ago, Stephen Harper, who was the prime minister at the time, he was a conservative and he put a law in place and said elections have to be held on this day every 4 years. Months later, he called a snap election. These guys, they can't be trusted. Doesn't matter what color of clothes they have on. It's sick. And then they have what's called a parliamentary privilege, which allows people in the legislature to discuss any issue and to lie. They can lie, and the press will pick it up and they'll print it. You can't sue anybody, you can't do anything. They have what's called this parliamentary privilege, which means you're a liar, so show us every day. And these are people that people elect. It's amazing. And then you have the minutes of meetings known as, if I can pronounce this word, Hansard or something, that includes an ability for the MPs and everyone to strike discussion from the minutes. So if they don't like something that was said, they strike it, they remove it. Elected members of Parliament, this is the fourth crazy thing, they're not allowed to talk. If they do, I guess they can, but if they do, they get kicked out of the caucus. How dare you say something that me, as the prime minister, I'm the prime minister, you said something against me, you're canned. I don't care that you were elected. That's the new Westminster system. Canada, you got troubles. You need a new government that will not only govern properly as they can, but they need to change the system a little bit, don't you think? California Democrat Barbara Lee. She's floating this idea. Let's take the minimum wage in the state up to $50 an hour. That's a good idea if you want to drive what's left of McDonald's stores and other small businesses out of the state. I mean, these people, they walk among us. Who comes up with that? Who can even think stuff like that? I mean, good bloody grief. Now, you go into a Wendy's or McDonald's, you have little robots everywhere because they can't afford the minimum wage of $20 an hour in California. She wants to do it at $50. Let's close everything down. They're mindless humanoids. And then you have people for the ethical treatment of animals. PETA, they're petitioning now for for fake animals to be removed from carousels, the horses and other animals, and replacing them with rockets and cars. So the environment, I guess, is okay. Boom goes the rocket. Now out comes all this stuff, and it kills people, apparently. And animals, the circle of life doesn't matter anymore. crazy is out there, and it's up to us to not be the silent majority anymore. Kind of like me. I ain't silent. Hey, see ya.